What's going on, everybody? It's Joel here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a few of the latest jump ropes from RX Smart Gear, the Evo G2 and the Evo Go. So I'm going to be real honest with you guys and let you guys know right off the bat that there's probably going to be a little bit of bias to this review, just because RX Smart Gear, they're really good to me. They send me all the latest stuff, wraps, jump ropes, cables, whatever I need. I did initially buy the original Evo jump rope, but since then they've been really good about hooking me up with stuff. They even brought me out to the Power Monkey camp, so I owe them quite a bit. But even still, even though there's a little bit of bias, I still do think that the Evo series jump ropes are the best in the business. And that's not to say that I don't think that any other jump rope is good or usable or might work better for you. It's just that my preference is towards the Evo jump rope, but it wasn't always that way. The original Evo, I was not initially a huge fan of. I had a lot of issues jumping with this one, just because I think it was too good for me. I wasn't as good a jump roper at the time, but I stuck with it. I practiced. I changed my cables out quite a few times, and eventually I got to the point where the Evo became my go-to. This is my staple jump rope. Well, I mean, until now that the Evo Go and the Evo G2 came out. I've had the Evo Go for quite some time, the original Evo Go, and I don't know, just kind of lagged on making a review for it. So this is gonna include the original Evo Go, which I think is a great jump rope. Though I do prefer the bigger handles. So the Evo Go is basically just a shrunken down normal Evo, and it does have knurling. So here's the size comparison between the two. The Evo Go is obviously a little bit shorter, a little bit slimmer, does have the knurling, and then the bearing assembly is pretty much the same exact thing. Spins extremely fast, extremely smooth. We can just sit here and watch this spin pretty much all day long, but I gotta continue this review. They do use the same exact cables. You have the choice between the speed metal and the heavy metal. Let's see, the speed metal is this one on the left and the heavy metal is the one on the right. So it doesn't look like this huge difference between the two, but once you get them going, the heavy metal definitely has a little bit more weight to it. So if you are a beginning jump roper, I would definitely recommend that you stay away from the Evo in the first place. Just get a normal RX rope. But if you're adamant about getting an Evo, get the heavier rope. It's going to be easier to learn on. And also, if you struggle with like timing, get the heavier rope, or even just get one of their normal jump ropes. But anyways, the Evo Go, the handle shape is excellent. So there's really only one way that you're going to hold this handle, and that's like the base of it in the palm of your hand, and then thumb and index on the knurling. So that's how I pretty much hold it. So it's a little high up for me. Personally, I prefer the shape of the bigger handle, just because it gives me a little bit more options. But if you had a really small hand, I could see how the Evo Go might be a better option for you. So with the Evo Go, I've had a little bit of issues jumping with the speed metal cable, which is not usually an issue. That's what I use on my normal Evo. So I've actually been using just like the normal hyper cable on the Evo Go, just because it gives me a little bit more feedback and control. So if you find yourself struggling like I did with the Evo Go handles, then I would definitely recommend that you also pick up like the hyper cable as well. In terms of speed, the Evo Go is definitely just as fast as the normal Evo. These bearings rotate like crazy fast. And I think honestly that the Evo Go probably has the higher potential for speed than the normal Evo handle, just because it's a little bit smaller. You can choke up on it a little bit better. I just personally don't have as easy of a time jumping with the Evo Go. Maybe I just haven't gotten as accustomed to the Evo Go as I have the normal one. So that might be an issue for me there. Otherwise, the build quality of the Evo Go is pretty much the same in terms of like what it's finished with. It's an anodized aircraft grade aluminum. It does definitely have the knurling, and that's a big plus. It's like a diamond shaped knurling. And it's comfortable, it's aggressive. It gives you a good amount of feedback when you're holding the jump rope. So I really like that about this jump rope. Even if you get really sweaty, the combination of the rubber bands and the knurling make it really easy to hold, even though the anodized aluminum is a little bit slick. And that was one of my original complaints with the Evo. Another thing with the Evo, and that's just like the Evo in general, is that the little keyring can kind of get caught and click. That's a little annoying. You can mitigate that. You can get rid of it if you just kind of focus on turning your arms in circles or your wrists in circles very evenly. You can get rid of that. But if you like kind of flick your wrists like I do, you're gonna run into that issue. So that is a little bit of a user thing and a little bit of a manufacturing thing. But otherwise, the Evo Go is an excellent jump rope. And then they just released the Evo Go in a matte finish, which for $5 more is definitely worth it. It comes in this stealthy matte black option. The knurling is still great. The feel of the matte black option is just, in my opinion, it's day and night. It's much better than the standard Evo Go. But if you wanted to save $5, you can get the standard Evo Go for $125, whereas the matte finish Evo Go is $130. It does show like little scratches a little bit easier than the normal Evo Go finish, but otherwise, I mean, it's just so much nicer feeling in the hand. The build quality and construction is, I mean, it's identical. It still has the same bearings. It still takes the same jump ropes, but you do have a nicer finish with the matte one. And I think it's definitely worth the extra $5. And these ones come with a cable, so you get a nice little carrying pouch for your Evo handles. So now moving on to the Evo G2, and this is the biggest and baddest and best jump rope that RX offers. It does come in this new tactical patch, which is really cool. It comes with a little patch that's RX Smart Gear, and then there's some Velcro hook and loop on the front of it, so you can personalize this thing as well. It's got a little carrying loop, and it's got like a little, I mean, it's a Cordura fabric. It's very, very nice. I don't even know if these are YKK zippers, but we're gonna find out right now. They don't look like they're YKK zippers, but they are not terrible. They zip pretty easily. I didn't mind the original Evo hard case. I actually kind of like it as well, but this new tactical one looks really cool. There's an inside pouch to this little tactical pouch, and then of course on the other side you have your handles, which slip into these little elastic parts, so they store very well. And then you have your jump rope. So the differences between the Evo G2 and the normal Evo are that you have the new matte finish, you've got knurling, and then the handle looks a little bit slimmer. That could be the finish. No, it definitely looks a little bit slimmer. And I think that's mainly in the areas where the knurling is. Yeah, definitely is slimmer than the original handles. But otherwise the shape is pretty much the same. The spin, still excellent. Will spin forever. We can sit here and watch this all day long and it'll keep on going. So the Evo G2 still has the rubber bands. You can customize them as you please. And then inside the thinner channels of the grooves, there is that diamond knurling like on the Evo Go. Very, very comfortable to hold. And then the matte finish is excellent. So the reason why I prefer the bigger handles to the smaller handles is because you have a couple different ways that you can hold the Evo. So you can choke up on it and hold it real high here, and thumb and index on the top knurling, or you can hold it low. And this is actually my preferred place to hold the jump rope. Usually I'm holding it here. If I'm fresh in a workout, I can usually control the rope a little bit better. But if I get really tired and I need to choke up on the jump rope, I hold it by the top ones. But personally, I'll hold it by the bottom ones. And this thing is, I mean, if you've never used an Evo jump rope, these things are insane. These are the fastest jump ropes. The potential for speed with these jump ropes is the best. There's absolutely nothing out there that is even close to the build quality and the speed that you're gonna get out of the Evo jump ropes. The Made in America, the finish on the matte ones is still anodizing. They're using just like a matte anodized aluminum. It's still an aircraft grade, and the quality of these jump ropes is just insane. You're gonna buy this one jump rope and it'll last you forever. You'll never have to replace it. I've never had any issues with my original Evo jump rope. It's still a perfectly usable jump rope, but otherwise, the Evo G2 is my #1 pick for a speed rope at the minute. Now, that's not to say that this is the best jump rope for you. Like I said, and I'll always say that if you are a beginner jump roper, you should not be looking into the Evo jump rope. First off, it's expensive. So the Evo G2 retails for $150. That's a pretty good premium over even the normal Evo, which they do still sell, which is now $125. And then the original Evo does also come in the matte finish for $130, which that's the one that I probably recommend. But if you just wanted a splurge, the Evo G2 is the way to go. Also, if you're looking for a jump rope and you're just a really sweaty person, like your hands sweat profusely, then definitely go with the Evo G2. Otherwise, in the hierarchy of like Evo jump ropes, I'm gonna go with the Evo G2 as my top pick, the Evo G1 matte as my second pick, the Evo Go matte as my third pick, probably the Evo Go as my fourth pick, and then the original Evo as my last one. Not to say that any of them are bad, but I think that's the way that I would pick them out. When it comes to sizing your rope, RX Smart Gear recommends going like 3 feet over your height. So I would use anywhere from like an 8.8 to an 8.10. I would recommend, if you are a novice jump roper, go with the bigger option or the longer option, because I find that usually it's a little bit easier for people to learn on the longer jump ropes, just because, you know, usually people tense up, their arms get a little bit away from them. But if you're an experienced jump roper, you're gonna wanna go with exactly what they say. I use an 8.8 jump rope, which is a little short for me, but I've been jumping long enough to the point where it doesn't really affect me too much. So anyway you go, the Evos are a lot of money to spend on a jump rope, but I'll never forget one of the things that I overheard Dave Newman say when I first bought my original Evo, and that's that you'll easily spend that much money on a pair of shoes, but something like this jump rope is gonna last you longer than a pair of shoes would anyways. So you owe it to yourself. If you're, you know, heavily invested in CrossFit, I definitely recommend just take the plunge and spend that extra bit on the Evo jump rope. You will not be sorry. If you're looking at the Evo lineup of jump ropes, I definitely recommend it if you are a proficient jump roper. If you're a novice, stay away from these ones. Go with the normal RX Smart Gear jump ropes and then progress up to the Evo ropes. That's a big thing in RX Smart Gear's mantra. There's always a progression to the next thing. So definitely recommend the Evos. If you guys have any questions about any of these jump ropes here or double unders in general, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And as always guys, please hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.